Welcome to the From Concealment Podcast, the show for firearm enthusiasts who like to shoot, train, carry, and compete. Get ready for some shooting and sight, firearm and accessory reviews, and of course, insight on concealed carry. And now, broadcasting from behind enemy lines in the From Concealment studio, it's Pete Mitchell and Dan Sams.
Hey, Freedom Nation, this is Pete Mitchell.
And I am less paranoid than I was earlier this morning.
Well, I texted Dan. We normally record in the morning my time, and he couldn't do it. And I was like, all right, that's no problem. But just to let you know, the FBI was just at my house. Technically, they were still there when I was texting you. And Dan's like, are you all right? And I'm like, nah, they got nothing on me. And so Dan was genuinely getting concerned. And so I had to let him know, well, you know, I know it's the feds. I know it's the FBI. But they did dress up in their gas uniforms and came up in a gas truck and said they were there to fix a gas leak that no one complained about, in air quotes.
Yeah. Yep.
And
fix
I'm like,
the gas leak, huh?
Yeah.
We're from the Quantico Gas Company. We're here to check on things for you.
He comes up to me and he's like, yeah, I'm from the gas company. I'm like, Fed.
Sure you are.
He's like, you know, there's a gas leak. I just checked. It's over here by these palm trees, which is on my property. If we need to get back to your gas meter, is there a dog there? And I go, look, do you have a warrant? And I'm not talking about some FISA warrant or FISA court order. No, it is a FISA warrant. I'm like, I want to know, do you have a real warrant, Mr. FBI agent? Because I know who you are and I know why you're here. No one called about a gas leak. And he's like, no, I swear. This is legit. This is a real gas leak. I go, could you please show me, you know, I don't have that equipment on me, but I can smell the gas. I'm like,
what?
Oh, yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, it's the FBI.
So, yeah, by the way, when the real gas company comes, because I've had to call them for what I was concerned about a gas leak, they actually have a sensor that will tell how bad the leak is so that they know how serious, because like, if it's very serious, they got to lock things down, right? For him to not have the sensor.
Oh, dude, he's FBI, 100%.
And then he doesn't need to check where the gas leak is. He needs to go back to your house.
He needs to go back to my house. And I'm like, well, look, just so you know, I know that's where my phone lines are and my data connection. And I do know what's supposed to be there, not supposed to be there. So if I see other equipment on there, just know I am going to dispose of it. He said, I swear I'm not the FBI. I go, I don't believe you.
That's exactly what the FBI would say.
That's exactly what the FBI would say.
And then he's like, well, okay, then I am the FBI. Aha, gotcha. So,
I think I said something like, you're a GS9, right? And he goes, yeah. Oh, I got you right there.
Well, have you ever read the book? And I think it's called something like Secrets of the FBI or something like that. I wish I could remember the author. We'll have to share it in the Telegram later. But really great book. And like this guy goes into how FBI does espionage, how they set up bugs and all that kind of stuff. Really, really a great book. Highly recommend it. First of all, it's entertaining as a read, but also it's, it tells you a little bit about their tactics. And that's one of them, Pete. Like the gas company thing is a stated tactic of the FBI. So
of course it is.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that movie with Ben Affleck where they were all bank robbers, like this one small like Boston community or something like that? Like,
yeah, the town.
Like, I think that might have been what it was called. It was like the highest per capita of bank robberies happens there, higher than anywhere else in the nation. And they're like, you think we don't know a Fed's car when we see it? You know, like 3 blocks away. We're like, we know when the Feds are here. And like that's the running theme through the whole movie is like, we know you're a Fed. We know that's a Fed's car.
Well, have you seen, on that same topic, have you seen the movie The Heat with Sandra Bullock?
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. So, I was thinking of The Heat with Val Kilmer.
No, not that one. So this is a
that
comedy.
was a good movie.
That's a good one. This is a comedy. It's her and I think Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
And it's like a cop movie, but with women.
I got Spanx on. Well, what are you trying to hold in there?
So it's there's a scene in there where where her family, because they're all from Boston and they have those thick Boston accents, and they're like, "Are you a knock?" And she's like, a knock? I don't understand. He's like, "Are you? Well, are you not a knock?" And so like the scene goes for like 5 minutes before she's like, "Oh, a narcotics officer. No, I'm not a narcotics officer." She's like, "That's what I've been saying. I've been saying it the whole time." I said, "Are you a knock?" So like the accent was just too much for her. That movie cracked me up. I remember seeing that with my wife, and that was the hardest I laughed in a little while in a movie. It was good. Oh.
So have you heard about Palmetto State Armory is selling Let's Go Brandon?
No.
Stripped lowers receivers.
That's awesome. Good for them.
They say Let's Go -15 multi Brandon and then the serial number. And the liberals are up in arms because it's got the safety selector's got the 3 options, right? It's got why they actually blur out the first one. It starts with an F, so you can figure it out from there.
Yes.
And then it's got Joe and then Biden. I'm in full
great.
Biden now, baby.
So they beat Spike's Tactical to it, because that's normally Spike's Tactical would be the ones making that, right?
Dude, they might have already. I'm just reading the article that I saw today.
Awesome.
I mean,
good for Palmetto, man. It's good for them.
Hilarious.
Actually, on our topic of concern related to surveillance, so I'm down. By the way, a little side note. I think we mentioned this last week. I'm in Virginia for PhD classes, and a little interesting thing is the number of guys in Army intelligence who are in my classes. My classes are 10 to 12 people each time, right? I have 2 guys that have been involved in. I mean, it's not all Army, it's Navy, it's Feds, but like 2 guys in this class with federal. Some kind of federal related intelligence stuff. And the last class, there was one who he was like Edward Snowden style. He's like, "I am ethically opposed to this and I'm leaving." And he lives out in the middle of a hillside in an undisclosed state. And man, all the paranoia about like, not talking about certain things with your phone around, like he actually quieted me in one of our discussions one time. He's like, "You're talking too loud." Like this, like it's not paranoia. Like this dude is in it. He knows it. And he's more paranoid than I am about it. And I think that should tell us something. Yeah, it should probably sober me more than I have been. Interesting times though. So yeah, well, hopefully you evaded the feds today, Pete. Hopefully, and now I'm seriously thinking about like my wife is at home. What if the feds didn't get the memo that I was down in Virginia, and so they're bugging my house right now? And Christy's like, "Oh, the gas company." She's pretty good about being like, "Who are you? I don't trust you." But yeah.
Well, hey, so I think I might have sent this to you. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I didn't post it in our Telegram group, but I think Alec Baldwin should be doing a movie with the cast from The View. Change my mind.
Oh man. So you know what? I think we should talk about that whole thing a little bit. We probably should have talked about it last week, and it just wasn't on my mind to do it.
Well, last week we didn't do it, right? Weren't we off last week?
No, we just did the same thing here. We just recorded late.
Oh, I can't remember anymore.
Yeah, that's all right. So no, the more stuff that's come out about that shooting. So they had been plinking on set. So I'd always, when the news first came out that he shot 2 people with a prop gun, immediately my logic stuff starts going. I'm like, okay, prop gun makes it sound like fake gun, but technically prop means something you are using as a prop in a movie, right? So prop gun, it has become very clear. It was a real gun that was being used as a prop. So put aside that they were trying to obscure the truth there, whatever. And then the word now is that they've been plinking in between scenes. So he was putting real bullets in that gun and target shooting. And then stayed on set, goes back and films and shoots somebody with what it sure sounds like were real bullets. That should make, so think about all this. Like, here you have a leftist liberal who hates guns, who has not learned how to properly be safe around guns, now thinks he knows more than us, and then goes and kills somebody because he wasn't following proper gun safety. And
look at how many people on that set weren't following proper gun safety.
Yeah.
It went through 3 hands at a minimum that we know of.
Yeah.
Alex's, the armorers, and then the director.
Well, the word about this armorer, my understanding, it's female armorer. I haven't gotten enough info on it for sure, but there are supposedly pictures of her teaching shooting to other people, and she's not teaching any kind of legitimate technique. So not sure how the person got the job, what the story is there.
Doesn't matter. My point is, it went through at least
a lot of hands. Yeah.
And every one of them should have checked it. Every one of them. You guys, when you go into a gun store and you ask to see that Glock 26 underneath the counter, and they pull out the Glock 26, now there is never a piece of ammunition that goes into one of those display guns ever.
Yeah.
But what do? They
always check it,
and then they give it to you. What are you supposed to do? I don't care that I saw you check it. I have to check it. I don't care what you think you know. I don't know for sure until I'm looking down the barrel and knowing there's no ammo in it.
And that built into that, not only is it, first of all, I'm responsible for the firearm that is in my hands. That's my job. Doesn't matter. I'm not supposed to trust anybody else. But second, you have the benefit of the redundancy provides an extra layer of protection. It's the same as, it's the same as the basic rules of gun safety. It's finger off the trigger, treat it as it's unloaded, even if you know treat it as if it's loaded, even if you know it's not loaded. There's all this stuff that are actually layers of safety. And that's another one. Like, I'm checking to make sure it's not loaded. Even though I just watched the guy check it, I'm checking it again. And so you have layers of safety. So if somebody messes up on one of them, you have several other things to keep you safe. And you shouldn't mess up on any of them. We got to be careful. But this is part of building it in.
It's also about building the habit.
Exactly right.
And so it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, you go to a shooting competition, someone there's got a new gun and all the shooters want to see it. It's really funny watching them pass the gun around because every single one of them is checking it, making sure it's empty. Oh, wow, that's really cool. Here, hand it to the next guy. He checks it, hands it to the next. I mean, it's like, it's almost comedy.
Yeah.
But it's because you never don't do that. You always do it.
Yeah. Well, and usually if I'm going to show a gun to someone, I clear it. And then if it's semi-auto pistol, I'm putting the slide lock on. So the slide is already back to make it easier for them to check it. And I'm okay with them if they want to close the slide to check the sights. That's totally cool. But I am facilitating the safety even with the handoff. And you can't do that with a revolver, but same kind of concept. It's layers of safety. And man, I feel bad for these people that got shot, man. It's still sad. I mean, it's still really, really sad.
It's horrible, but what do you think the battle cry is going to be now? See, this is why you shouldn't have guns, because I even killed someone accidentally. Wait, well, I'm supposed to take away my right because you're an idiot? What?
Yeah. Well, did you see the thing where somebody's like, we should outlaw all movies if we can save even one life? And I'm like, or outlaw liberals, but don't do that.
Well, that's hate speech.
That's hate speech. Which, did you see this thing? Speaking of which, there was there was a pilot who said, "Let's go, Brandon." Allegedly said, "Let's go, Brandon."
On Southwest.
Yeah, and they're just up in arms, and it's not really been confirmed that he said it like that. I'd like to know a little bit more, but the fact that they're
no, he said it
over it.
He said
Did he confirm it?
My buddy works for Southwest. And we were talking about this, and he's like, there was a reporter on the plane who tried to break into the cockpit.
I heard
to get a quote. And they're like, sir, if you don't, or ma'am, I don't know, guy or girl, if you don't sit down and put on your seatbelt, we're going to have you removed from the plane. And so they wrote up this big, long article about, he said, "Let's go, Brandon," on the plane. Yeah.
Side note. And she used language of that being a terrorist type thing. And you're showing you're radical, which is ridiculous. But notice, she's the one who went and banged on the door of the cockpit. Like, that's actually the kind of thing a terrorist would do, right? It's just insane, man.
Yeah. No, they have turned everything upside down, where if you disagree with them, you're the terrorist. And it's like, no, you guys are the ones that literally changed what the crowd was chanting to "Let's go, Brandon," because you didn't want to put out there publicly that people don't actually like Biden. That Kamala Harris has like the lowest rating, lower than Cheney. Like, how hard is that to get your rating that low? I mean,
you got to work hard at it. You got to keep some boys on death row.
Let's go, Brandon's a terrorist slogan. No, you're the terrorist.
Yeah. Oh man. It's interesting that it does show a reflection, unfortunately, of the mentality of the left, is that you disagreeing with us is dangerous.
Yeah.
And if you notice that's been going on for a while, but they're pushing it harder now. I actually was in a Facebook discussion with somebody just the other day, and we kept it friendly, but her comment, I mean, she really believes that like we should be forced to get to the vaccine. And she's essentially saying that the greater good outweighs and blah, 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 and trust the science. And I pointed out it was over a Rand Paul quote. And I pointed out, I'm like, well, Rand Paul is a doctor. And he's the one that shared this thing that like, hey, we need to be careful about some of these vaccine things. And so I'm like, so should I trust? I mean, he's a medical professional. Well, then she's like, no, because he's a politician too. And I'm like, okay, so Dr. Fauci is in a political office. I mean, he didn't get elected, he got appointed, but it is a politically held office. And he has said things that were mutually exclusive. And so how do I decide what medical professional to trust? And it led to a really interesting discussion, because ultimately what she was arguing for is political totalitarianism, not for trust the science. Because as soon as you have two different medical professionals saying different things, now it really doesn't matter. You need to do what the government says. And what my very last question to her was like, so can you understand my concern when you're asking me to trust another political medical guy who has been mutually exclusive? And she even acknowledged that he had said things that were untrue. So I'm like, can you just at least acknowledge like maybe why I might be concerned about being forced to take something? Why maybe I don't want myself and my family to be forced to take a vaccine when things have been a little shady here. And she never responded again. But it goes to show the reflection there is a mentality of totalitarianism. And that concerns me greatly. That's serious.
What we're seeing right now, and a buddy of mine said this better than I ever could have. He goes, it's crate training. They're crate training our kids right now. Because notice for kids, well, I don't know about this in your state. In my state, it's no big deal for them to put on a mask. They're so used to it. Oh, okay, I got to put on a mask when I go into class. The Democrats are playing the long game, right? So 10, 15 years from now, for the next crisis, they've already crate trained everybody. And he goes, you talk to firemen and they'll find the family dog dead inside of their crate. Why? Even though the fire's raging on, because they go to where they're safe. Oh, I'm going to go back to my crate. It's safe in my crate. My crate, everything's good. And you die. We're crate training the world right now. Crate training our kids, crate training everybody. It's one of the reasons I want out of this state so bad. In fact, I read an article this last week by this guy who is a Democrat, extremely liberal, and he was pointing out the massive hypocrisy in Gavin Newsom. And he goes, we can't stand by and let this passing war. Of course, he was pointing it out, saying, okay, some of the things where Gavin has been incredibly have incredible hypocrisy in with COVID specifically. Obviously, we all know about the French Laundry, right, where they went and ate there while everyone else was closed down. Oh, it was outdoors. It was not, by the way. It was indoors.
And it wouldn't matter
indoors.
Yeah.
And it was all, him and his friends. They could do whatever they want. So he's got all these vaccine mandates for everybody. But let's look at some of the groups that don't have it. Corrections officers don't have it. They happen to have donated $1.5 million to his Don't Get Recalled campaign. Now, there have been 48 confirmed spreader events in the prisons linked back to guards. Okay. Guards came in with the COVID, got the prisoners sick. So he was saying, oh, he's mandating it for everybody. He's not mandating it for them because they gave money to his campaign. They should be mandated to do it. So his point was everyone should be mandated to do it, right? Totally opposite side of the spectrum than us. Another one, teachers in California, their mandate doesn't kick in until the kids' mandate kicks in. And yet we know, and this is the guy, he said this in the article, we know kids are not in any danger from it. They don't spread it. They don't give it to adults. When they get it, they get well, and hardly any kid has gotten sick and died. And of the nationwide 200 or 327 people, something like 70 or 80% of them had underlying conditions like diabetes, leukemia, and I think obesity was like the third of the major. So, I mean, basically kids are totally safe. So why are you holding off on the teacher mandate for the kids to get it when the kids are totally irrelevant in the equation? Yeah. It's the teachers.
Doesn't make sense.
Because the teachers gave money to his reelection campaign or his Don't Get Recalled campaign. So he was, of course, all in favor of everyone should be mandated, across the board. But he was pointing out the hypocrisy. I'm like, well, at least you're pointing out the hypocrisy. Like, we see it. We've known it. But, he's mandated it for kids. But his own daughter, at least at the time that I last heard, wasn't vaccinated. His 12-year-old daughter. So she was old enough to get it, but wasn't. And supposedly we're supposed to be okay with this.
Yep. Everything you need to know right there.
Yep.
So on a broader topic, but just so we don't forget, we need to talk very, very quickly about Supreme Court, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Pete, you want to fill us in on most of us know about the case. And is it oral arguments this week?
Yeah, it's oral arguments this week. So, what does that mean? We'll actually hear something in a couple of months. I don't even know how long it takes. Next April, who knows? Yeah. But even the liberals, I mean, you go on there and you start reading these articles all over the place everyone's liberal in the media, right? Yeah. And they are trying to show, they all pretty much believe that the Supreme Court's going to rule against New York and their ability to basically say you can pick and choose who can carry and who can't. Everyone pretty much believes Supreme Court's going to say everyone has the right to carry a gun. If you're going to make them get licensed, it's got to be quick. It's got to be, you don't need to have them prove that they need a justification for it. None of that. That's what everyone believes is going to happen. And I really hope that's true. I'd love to see the rest of my California brothers and sisters be able to get permits and start carrying, or no permits and carry. Neither one is fine with me. If I do end up, moving to Texas, they're constitutional carry. I won't be getting a permit in Texas. I actually will not probably buy any firearm through an FFL in Texas. I'll buy them all private party as long as that's not required to go through an FFL like it is here in California, because I don't want the government knowing what I got and what I don't got.
Exactly right.
Why? What do I need that for? I'll still have my Arizona carry permit. So I already have, one that covers most of the states. I figure that's good enough. You don't need it in Texas anymore. So sweet. You know what? I can still travel, carry, because I got the Arizona permit. And anyway, so what's coming down, everyone pretty much believes the Supreme Court, even the liberals, believe it's going to side in favor of people being able to bear arms. Ironically, it's in the Constitution. But seeing these articles, basically one of the articles I read today, for the first time in 113 years, the Supreme Court basically said that the right to bear arms was not tied to the militia, because the Second Amendment says, because of the militia line. And, this is the first time ever. And it's like, no, you're an idiot. And you're an idiot. You're trying to prove your case, and they're trying to go back and rewrite history. So here's what I believe, guys. And I've said this before. I think the right to bear arms is going to come down. I think you're going to have states still ignore it, like California, do whatever they can to ignore it. And then we're going to see Texas with the Texas abortion case. If the Supreme Court comes out and basically overturns Roe v. Wade via this Texas abortion law, then that's when I think it's going to hit the fan. I think we're going to have the liberals just say, we can't trust the Supreme Court anymore. They're going to go ahead and pack the Supreme Court, add 5 more justices that they all get to pick, whatever it is. And then you're going to have the conservatives go, forget it. We can't trust you guys at all anymore. And boom, it goes to a shooting war. They did a recent study and found that 30% of Republicans don't believe that this will be solved without violence. It was an amazingly high stat. And I understand why people are saying that, because they're totally ignoring the Constitution. They're ignoring precedent. They're ignoring everything because it doesn't fit into what they want.
Yeah. Well, here's what I would say. And it's going to sound crazy coming from me, but no, it's going to sound surprisingly normal. They're going to want there to be a fight that starts with us doing something. And they're going to try to bait us into that. So the number one thing we got to remember right now is don't take the bait. There needs to be a legitimate imminency of threat in order for there to be force used in defense. So you need to be ready to do that. You need to be willing to do that. You need to be trained to do that. But don't just get mad and pop stuff off. Right. When we think about Lexington and Concord, it's an interesting thing that nobody knows who fired the first shot there. Now, I would argue that we had, British regulars who were it was an act of war that they came to confiscate those guns. So if the colonials fired the first shot, we were justified in doing so because military action was taken against us. So make that very clear. If we fired the first shot, I don't think we did anything wrong. Aggression had already been, brought against us. But I would say, don't go taking the bait and doing something stupid. Be smart, be ready, but be willing for things if it really does come to that. And we'll pray that it doesn't, because we're men of peace. But good men of peace will be prepared for war. And that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, I say let someone else start it. I don't want to start it. I don't want to be in it. I've said that before. I don't want to be in any kind of war. I'm just saying, I don't see how we're going to get out of the situation we're in without that being the natural, logical conclusion to everything. And I think honestly, it's justifiable to say, well, wait a second. We're seeing the liberals terrorize our cities, break into our government buildings, burn them to the ground. I mean, all you got to do is look at Washington as like a great example of just liberals run amok. And no, that's Antifa. That's whatever. They start coming up with all their excuses. But then the second a bunch of guys go running through the Capitol, oh, that's insurrection. Oh, wait. Dude, wait a second here. It's not insurrection when you guys do it. It's insurrection when they do it. I don't buy that. Not for a second.
I agree. I fully agree. Yeah. So everybody needs to be watchful and prepared and smart. Yeah. What a time, man. Well, man, hope you move soon, Pete.
I hope I get to, man. You never know, right? You never know until it actually happens. You never know. Yeah,
they start building a wall on the east side of California, man. You go ahead and get out of there. Like, don't even worry about the house at that point.
Dude, we might have to shoot our way out of this state. You never know.
No joke, man.
It's funny, man. They were saying that at one of my handgun competitions. Like, surprisingly, as anti-gun as California is, we've got really good training and really good competitions and really good ranges here in specifically Southern California. Like, it's amazing how good it is. And my only comment to that was, it's because we all know we might have to shoot our way out of this state. We're all trying to get prepared up for that, man. It's like,
yep. So so on this topic, by the way, last week I'm in this class and I'm talking to this guy who is very much like-minded. And we're having a good conversation. There's another guy who's He's also in the military, but does not think quite where we are. He's sympathetic, but not quite where we are. And so we're talking about gear, and I make a comment about my my Kenai phalanx pack that I really like. And I'm like, yeah, man, it's really comfortable over a plate carrier, which by the way, it is amazing. It seems to have been made specifically to be worn over a plate carrier. Highly, like, I'm loving that pack, by the way. And anyway, he hears me say plate carrier and he's like, you have a plate carrier? And I'm like, yeah, and the other guy's like, yeah, like we're all like, and so of course this guy was in the Navy. The Navy guy is like, why would you do that? And I'm like, because stuff's about to go down, boy. Like, you Navy guys might be too excited about going away for 6 months with a bunch of guys, but the rest of us are concerned about things going down.
Yeah, all they're concerned, hey, do I got a life jacket? Okay, I'm good.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what's going on, man. Anything else we should mention to the Freedom Nation?
No, just interesting times, guys. I would tell you, if you're not in our Telegram group, get in our Telegram group, 850-990-HERO, HERO. Actually, no, I'm sorry. That's not it. 850-990-2020. Keyword is HERO. I had a phone number that the last 4 digits were HERO, but keyword is HERO.
Keyword is HERO.
Text HERO to 850-990-2020 and get in our Telegram group and see the memes, because the memes are on fire.
Yeah. By the way, be sharing the memes. If you haven't noticed, Facebook and Instagram are really choking back the memes. I have not gotten as much.
They banned the hashtag Let's Go Brandon.
Yeah. So like they're choking out the meme fire. And brothers, like, memes are important to what we do. So if you find a good meme, send it to us, because we want to see it, because probably Facebook and Instagram are not going to let us see us. They might be coming, man. We're going to be passing memes, like, folding them up in a piece of paper and like passing them. Like, remember
when your kids asked you, where were you in the meme wars of 2020, 2021, you're going to tell them I was in the thick of it.
Yeah, man. You don't want to let your children down.
I was behind enemy lines passing memes, baby.
Have you seen the meme? And it's like a 1950s cartoon, and like there's a kid sitting on the granddad's lap and saying like, "What did you do during COVID?" And he's like, shared a whole bunch of white hot memes with all my friends. And then you see the girl, and her meme says, "Grandma should have memed more."
Grandma should have memed more.
And then the like, how did you get through it? I memed. Apparently grandma didn't. And then the boy is like, effing legend. Like, it's awesome.
That's funny.
Good stuff, man. Well, hey, everybody. Thanks. As always, check out learms.net. Exciting things going on. Of course, we've got big Black Friday sale to come. Holy cow. Some amazing stuff coming up there. And other than that, we always got cool stuff on there. learms.net.
Cool. All right, guys. We'll talk to y'all later. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care.
You've been listening to the From Concealment Podcast with Pete Mitchell and Dan Sams. Be sure to tune in next week for more gun talk. Also, check out the From Concealment website for more shooting-related goodness at FromConcealment.com.